Today on Stage Zero Garage, I'm going to close these up a little bit. I'm going to give you the walk around of the Lil Red Express truck, or actually as we now call it, the Red Nite Express. I'll give you the details on the name change and everything else that's going on with this truck, and everything I did to get it to where it is today. And first thing I'm going to do is take it and get it washed, and it's pretty dusty and dirty, and you know, I'd rather show you a clean truck than the dusty and dirty truck. So let's go give it a wash and then we'll continue from there. Don't sit there with the timer off and hand wash their car. I like to bring it to the manual spray wash. For this one, I tend to do, I do soap and then I go over it with a towel, clean towel, and then I rinse it off, and then I do the spot-free rinse. Here's how it looked in 2011 when I bought the truck.
Yeah, get out of the way, girl. You too, Bryce, back up.
Really nice wet. one thing I can always find where my leaks are. So I usually get a little bit of water in through there and just a little bit in through that. I think most of it's just coming in through those side curtains. I replace those seals, but I don't think these coil's enough, hence the quarter. It could probably go up to a nickel. And that usually helps with the wind noise too. All right, we're all clean. We'll take her for a drive and give you driving impressions, and then we'll just go do the walk around. So city driving, it's pretty decent. I tightened up the steering a little bit. It's a little bit more responsive. And I've got front and rear sway bars. So as far as handling goes, it's good. Accelerations are responsive enough. I did switch out that thermal quad that I had for the Holly Street Demon. I just could not get that thing dialed in right, and I'm much happier with how this is running. Interior noise wise, it's actually really good. You can hear some wind noise, especially when I take my coins out of my side curtain latches. I've got sound deadener all over the place on this one. I kind of like this. I was going to cover it, but I kind of like that look. I don't know. It seems alright. And I've got on the floors, on the back wall, and then underneath the carpet I have the foam. So it's really nice and quiet, and with the new door seals and everything, it's definitely a lot quieter. Again, you know, I still get wind noise coming through, but it's something I can deal with. And once we will jump on the highway, and then I'm sure you'll be able to hear. I have a weird vibration that's kind of new right when I put a little bit of a light load on. It's more of a hum, low rumble. Interesting. I did have the drive shaft replaced last year. I took it in. I was just having some vibrations. I took it in to okay, we're not going to turn on the arrow. Yeah, anyway, back to the drive shaft. I was getting some vibrations, and in order to make sure I eliminated everything, I took that in to have it balanced, and yeah, as I was carrying it in, I saw that it actually had a kink in it, a little bit of a dent. It dropped once when I first got it. The U-joint went out. That was my fault, because I didn't know how to install U-joints. One thing that's kind of fun is I have the sliding rear window, which was not, I don't know if that even came with as an option on the Lil Red, but this cab that I have had it. Yeah, so when I slide open the windows there, it's nice because I can hear the stacks really good. So Reece and I are going to do a walk around now of the Lil Red. I'm sorry, the Red Nite Express. And so Reece, why don't you take a moment to tell them what a Lil Red Express truck is?
The Lil Red Express truck was introduced in 1978 and featured a high performance, for the time, 360 cubic inch V8 based on Chrysler's police engine. It was the fastest American-made vehicle to 100 miles an hour because it was exempted from the power robbing emission regulations. For the time, the Lil Red truck's high performance stood for 225 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque, which propelled the truck to 60 in about 7 seconds and the quarter mile in the 15s. Options were minimal. All LREs were painted red with red pine boards for the bed floor and stained wood on the sides and the rear of the bed exterior. The exhaust exited behind the cab in 2 stainless stacks. Interior options were either red with a red bench seat or black with black buckets and a center buddy seat. For 1978, 2,188 units were produced, and 1979 saw an increase to 5,118. Visibly, the main difference between the two was the grills. The 1978 had single round headlights, and the 1979 had the quad rectangular lights.
So, first thing you'll notice about this Lil Red Express truck is the fact that it is black. And this is red, and hence the name Red Nite Express. Now, there was a Midnight Express truck, which I think they only made a couple. There would probably be a bunch of people throwing in comments about, well, no, I know this guy that had one, I know this guy that had one. No, I think there were only like a couple documented Midnight Express trucks. So Reece came up with the name Red Nite because I wanted to do all black with red accents, and because after I threw away 90% of the sheet metal for this truck, I got this cab, which is a Reece is my dictionary or my memory. So
the
this
cab
is what year? A bug? Oh no.
Hornet. No, the cab is a 86.
86 cab. Okay, so we'll get to the rest of this stuff after. So this 86 cab, if you notice, it's got this nice sharp roof line here. Everything else is the same. You know, you could cut this off and put a different roof on, but mine was really bad. The floors were gone, the cab corners were gone. It was the cab supports were gone. Everything underneath was gone. So roof is nice, but you know, I just for I think $500 I got this cab and I got some leaf springs. My springs were my rear leaf springs were all bad. The perches were rusted. That's what I need. So we figured, because it's not really an official Lil Red Express to me if the cab isn't correct, because that's the first thing. The guys that know, they'll notice. They'll see this and they'll be like, oh, that's not right. So then the next thing was the bed. My bed was trashed. All these fender bolts and all the wood bolts, none of that stuff was coming out. Everything was all rusted to this bedside, so I had to cut shit out, and so this is a good example of what a good part of the bed looked like. Everything else was worse than this. Everything was totally rusted, and so I just threw that out. Got the fenders. They're up in the rafters in the garage, but these aren't even the original fenders. So the bed I got locally, that's a 74, yes, and it was green. And the bed that I got with the truck, there was a white bed that came with it, but it was a 60s bed because the gas, it didn't have the side gas filler, because it was an older model where the gas tank was in the bed. I'm sorry, the gas tank was in the cab. So that wouldn't work, because when they did that, they shifted the fenders back like an inch or a half.
So they're actually, one of them's a little bit off.
Yeah, so yeah, the steps, you can actually see the steps are different sides when we look at that side. So this, but I took the fenders from that one and put it on because they were really good, and they actually almost seemed like they were thicker metal. I don't know. They just seemed like they were not flimsy. They were in better shape. And also when I bought the truck, I got 2 bumpers, because the bumpers that were on it were just bent up. And luckily he still had the stack shields. These are hard to find, and they're expensive when you find them. I don't know if they even reproduce them. And so tailgate, this is the original tailgate. The tailgate and the doors are original. That's it. The hood was original until it fell over when I was prepping it for paint.
Creek windstorm. The hood's off of '89 Ram Charger.
Yeah. And I wanted to keep this. So this patina is really nice. It's got, even got some little holes, and they clear coated it. And I use a lot of grade 8 bolts. I kind of like this industrial look, and this obviously is not a feature on the later model beds. This is the 74 again. This had the backup lights there, and so I scoured to find the proper lights for it, because it didn't come with them. This is actually, I got this off of Pinterest, because a lot of times they were painted or they were coated rubber, and this one had no rubber left on it. And they have these clear ones that you can put on them, and I found someone on Pinterest, and she sold these for like $25 for the pair. So, and otherwise, this is what you get when you paint a truck and you don't put any covers on. On the maroon one, it's fine because it's a better paint. But the other side's probably about the same.
Yeah, it's got
some few things I've done with the bed is you see a lot of guys that have, for these, they just have like nuts and bolts. These are supposed to be carriage bolts with special nuts that's flush, but you see a lot of guys with just a regular nut at the end, and I didn't like that, so I found these. These were I think they're furniture goods. So
they look good.
So because you can buy reproduction nuts and bolts, but they're hundreds of dollars, and I really didn't want to do that. And I hate carriage bolts, so these actually have, they call them a forever shine or something. I don't know. They have a special coating. They're not chrome, but they have a really nice shine. Plus, they have the Phillips head, so you can screw them in nice. And yes, sometimes they still fall out. You have to kind of watch them and make sure that they're tight, because you do lose them. But I have a bunch of extra because they're damn cheap. And the bedwood, I did the varnish. If I redo it, I'll probably just do red like it's supposed to be. They weren't varnished. And if you do that, then sometimes you get a chip, and then the moisture gets underneath, and then it just starts to turn to crap anyway. So another thing I did was I added those the jerry can mounts. So I have the one on the left, and that one actually is full of gasoline. I have a couple extra jerry cans that I painted red, and one for like coolant if I take a long trip. I don't know how well. I'll jump back to that. So I actually made it so I could take the jerry cans out, so I have those nuts and bolts. So there's another mount that goes on that side, and then I just took that one out today because I don't have anything to put in there. And the other thing I did was I put a couple of these eye bolts in. I put 2 back here, and then there's 2 up there, and that's nice because then I have my plastic bins, and if I go grocery shopping and the wife says, but I'm just getting a couple things,
and then it's more than a couple things.
Every single time, more than a couple things. It's like 15 bags, and then you're trying to put it in there, or you got Walmart bags fluttering back here, and your shit's flying out. So I got the big plastic tote, and I put eye holes on the ends of those, eye bolts on the end of those, and then so I can hook them up there and they stay. So that kind of helps. This here, so this isn't the same exact type of filler neck. I wanted to use the one from Lil Red, but it didn't quite line up. And unfortunately, this one's got a little bit of rust. So my flex tape sometimes holds, but it doesn't hold forever. So as I'm filling, sometimes it starts to leak. So I'll probably have to pull it and give it to somebody to fill up my holes. Why are people laughing? What did I say that's funny? What else we got here? So, yeah, I got extra mirrors with it. This stuff here, I pulled these off the original, but every time I went to the junkyard and I saw extra drip rail covers, chrome ones, I grabbed a set. So then when I was putting this back together, it was cool because I could pick and choose. They're still really hard to get on right and not have them, they're not perfect, but they look good. And the wheels. So I got these with it. The ones that came with it, here, you can zoom in on that one over there on the truck. That's what came with it. Those are actually, I think, were chrome, but they are no longer chrome. They've been stripped. And it did come with these, but unfortunately they've got the rust here. Most of the time it looks fine, you can't really tell. Someday I'm sure I'll replace those as well. And
This is what everyone wants to see.
yeah. Oh, should I show my imperfections? Okay. So I suck at panels and lining up panels and everything else. I mean, I think I put the fenders on first. I'm supposed to probably put the door, because the bolts are right there so you can get to it, but I think I put the fenders on first before I actually aligned the door. So I didn't do bad. This is actually pretty good. It lines up with this body line, and that totally lines up with that body line. You can see right there. You can see how that lines up.
It is a little off.
This is always fun. This is the first place I ever come to whenever I look at a truck at a show. It's like, how does that look? Because you got to put the washers in here to line that up, and then you've got the hood doesn't always line up very good. So it was a lot of fun trying to get this lined up. I did a very good job. I'd like to do it over when I probably switch those. That's what's nice about that one, is everything's so lined up, so I know exactly what it's supposed to look like. So yeah, so let me open this back up. One problem I was having was the door wasn't closing. The door wasn't closing, and I had to get door seals. And what would happen is they don't compress very well, so they were actually pushing the door out. And I could not get the door to close right up here. And eventually I just went to the junkyard and grabbed as many door seals as I could from old Dodge trucks, and I replaced what I had, and they closed a whole lot better. I'll leave that on.
OEM work light.
Yeah, so this was the Ram Charger hood that I got, and when I got it, this was on it, but I assumed it was a light. I thought it's an awful lot of light, an awful lot of extra stuff for a light. And then I was on some site and I saw that this is what it does. This thing is freaking long. So yeah, I think it's 25 feet, but it's got a mercury switch. So if you open and close it, it turns off. But I just added this little switch because I have this open all the time, and I just don't want to drain my battery. So as soon as I saw what that was, I went up in the rafters, found the box, pulled it down, cleaned it up, threw it back on there, and except I have to kind of shift this over just a little bit, otherwise I might hit that. The engine, original 360, came with the Lil Red. We did tear it down. I wouldn't say I rebuilt it. The pistons are the same, the cam is the same. I didn't have it. It was already bored over 30 when I got it. I don't think the guy got it running at all after it was rebuilt. And so I think the rebuilt engine never really got many miles on it. They just switched out the carbs and they just couldn't get it right. And I had the thermoquad on it and rebuilt that one. I rebuilt it twice because I didn't know what I was doing the first time. This is connected there. I don't know if there's anything else connected. No, that's it. First time I took it off and to rebuild it because I was just having issues and I could tell I was having vacuum leaks. So I took it off and I remember calling Logan down. You gotta see what I did. I had wrong gaskets. I was missing parts. I had the metering rods. I had two different metering rods. So, it was kind of a cluster cuss. But anyway, I got that figured out and I had it all, dialed in as best I could, but I was still getting, if I stomped on it, it would bog, and I couldn't get it all dialed in. So I just went and got a Holly Street Demon 650, I think that's what it is. It's pretty much the same as the thermoquad. Everything is the same. It's got the two metering rods. It's got the same vacuum operated secondaries, the plastic bowl. So it's pretty much the same thing. I did have to get a spacer because the way the secondaries open, or they would have interfered with the set modes.
I don't want to know.
I'm probably boiling some gas. The other thing, so as you can see, everything, this is, again, a 86 cab.
Yes.
And everything that's attached to it is from the 79. So, but everything, I had to cut this just a little bit for the heater core. I think just a little bit on the bottom, and maybe added a couple holes. I had to cut for the electrical, for that coming in. I had to cut that But otherwise, everything was still the same as my truck. Even if it didn't have a hole, you could see where there used to be a hole. It was just like a little indent. The only thing I had to do is I had to get a different washer motor, because on the Lil Red it actually comes out, but on this one it actually it's a little different. So I had to go back to the junkyard, back to the Ram Charger, and get the wiper motor.
So for the most part, the firewall is all the same?
Yep, even the firewall is the same for the most part. I had to cut the hole here for the air for the blower. I like to put these big old extra size bottle jacks. This one I took the bracket from down here, where they always were, underneath the leaky washer fluid, so they were always rusted and never worked. But I got a bigger. I like the bottle jacks. They seem to jack up a little higher. Yeah, we'll get to that section. And this, so I actually mounted that here and put all the components back on there. Oh, I also have the original hinges, because got to keep a few of the original. Yeah. So when I got these fenders, after I put them on, none of them had an antenna hole. So I didn't really want to cut into the fender, and I just ended up getting one of these antennas that just attaches to the mirror. It works pretty good. It's not good for anything really far away, but I don't use the radio all that much anyway. So, what else, Reese? This. So I was painting it in that garage, the one that we had. The Mustang store, and our neighbor's awesome. And over the summer, the neighbor was gone for a long period of time and said, "Yeah, go ahead. You can use that to paint." So it was nice. I had that whole garage to myself. Cleaned it. I put plastic up all around. Had a really nice paint area, and I got it painted. And then putting it together, and I was pulling it out. I had these on, and that garage is not tall enough.
Just a little bit shorter.
Just a little bit too short. So everything was fine. Nothing was damaged on here. Nothing was damaged on here. The brackets were fine. All I had to do was bend them back a little bit, but it scraped all along on both sides along here, and I see it's kind of chipping. Sometimes these move and then they kind of hit that, but I patched it really crappily, and then painter, he didn't even see. I think he wanted to repaint the whole truck just to fix that.
Now we gotta paint the whole truck again.
So yeah, that was horrible. These are. Where the fuck is it? Okay, there it is. There you go. Can't even tell. Oh, got some over here too.
White spot? What white spot?
There you go. That's all good until I hit the next bump. Over the next train tracks. Okay, for the interior, again, we stuck with the black with red accents. This normally has a wood grain on it. It was really, really faded, and they do make decals for them, but I just painted it black and then did the little red. I used just those little paint pens. Those work really, really well for getting in there. And the speakers, I got 6x9s down there, and I also have these 6x9 mounts back here that I got. Some guy on Facebook was making these. I think he might have stopped, but $45 I got for the pair, and it's really nice having 4 6x9s. And for stereo, I have this Boss Marine radio, and I know it's kind of looks goofy, but the tack was there, the tack didn't work, and I didn't like the tack there anyway. I feel like having the tack here just works a lot better. So, you know, I'm trying to figure out what to do for radio. I found this one, and you know, I just cut the hole a little bit bigger, and also had the USB. It had just a cable for USB in the back, so I just attached it, cut a hole, and put it there. It's got 40 watts per channel for 4 channels, so that's actually a lot of sound to pump into this little cab, so more than sufficient. I have it on radio now.
Take my hand and come with me because you look so fine that I really want to make you mine.
Yeah, it's got more than enough power to overcome wind noise, and I can, you know, drive with the windows open and on the highway and still hear everything, and that's really nice. That's important to me. I just mostly keep that covered because most of the time it just connects to the Bluetooth automatically, and I do Bluetooth almost exclusively in this, so I don't really use the radio all that much. And yeah, again, going with the black with red accents. You can see all the gauges, the altimeter, no, the alternator, the charging gauge. That's a common source of burned up trucks, and I was actually starting to have an issue with it, so I just disconnected it and bypassed it with the standard bypass process. And so back to video, the Bluetooth kept connecting with on my phone, kept connecting to the stereo and starting to play music, and then it cuts out the video. So while that's usually nice in most cases when I'm trying to record stuff, it's kind of annoying. Yeah, so you can see the oil pressures usually runs around 40. I have pretty much maybe 3/4 of a tank, but my fuel tank gauge is really off, and plus I'm at a weird angle. I have this cold meter here. You can see it just kind of does this thing sometimes. It's pretty steady otherwise. Vacuum gauge, of course. And matching clock. Both of these I got from the same company. Speed something. Speed Hut. Speed Hut is the company that I use for the gauges. And really nice ability to configure the gauges with different fonts, how they light up and so forth. And it was kind of neat because I ordered the clock sometime after the tack. I mean, it was almost probably a year. And they actually contacted me and said, hey, we noticed that you picked this font. Do you want this font instead to match your tachometer? So that was neat that they caught that and fixed it for me. Yeah, you can see it's the W250. It's got the big old W250 hump. Kind of nice. So if you're sitting here, both your feet can be on the hump as opposed to trying to like straddle each side. And here's my phone mount. See, that's how that works. And this thing here I pulled out of a 90s Dodge pickup. Grabbed that, threw it. I was at the junkyard. There was another truck that I was pulling stuff off, so I grabbed it, threw it in there to test it. Sure enough, it fit, so I brought it home. And again, I've got the Silas. I'm trying to remember the brand that I have. I got it off of Amazon. Goes on pretty easy. It's cheap enough. This cab actually had trim, had a headliner, and it had trim along, so I filled up those holes, all the holes for the trim. Well, these are starting to come out. I should screw these in better. I did save the trim, and I painted it because this was a blue interior. As you can tell by the seat belts are blue. That truck does have black seat belts, so I'm really excited to be able to put black seat belts back in here. And you can see that I kind of missed painting the inside of the doors on that one. This one's okay. It's pretty good for as far as weather stripping. You know, you could see when it was raining, the only rain I got was in through those side curtains. Sometimes I do get a little bit of rain that comes in through here. The place I put the glass in, because I had the glass out, everything was stripped, they didn't even clean it up. You can actually even see it's dirty down there. So they didn't even clean the glass when they put it in. So that tells you how much effort they put into making sure this was done right. Here's the bin that goes in the back. This is the one that's empty, and we just use it for like groceries. This one here actually has fluids in it. So timing light and vacuum gauge. I've got coolant, oil, of course T4, and I always have to have some flex tape and brake clean. And gas can, I haven't quite determined how low I can go. With the gas tank, the gas gauge doesn't work very well, and I've had bad luck with pickups not picking up as far as I wanted it to. So this summer I'm going to run the gas as far as I can, and I'll have this in case I need to fill up. So that'll wrap it up for this truck, the Red Nite Express. And you know, the future for this one is to take the body from the 79 I just brought back from state of Washington and actually transplant it onto this frame. Again, everything underneath the sheet metal is original in this truck yet for Lil Red. In fact, even if you look on the frame, there's they stamped the VIN. I'm not sure if that's for all 79s. I didn't see it on this one, but I know for the Lil Reds on 79 they stamp the VIN on the frame, and that's still visible. So I'd like to, you know, make this an all 79 and take everything off of that truck and then put it on this one, and then take all this stuff and put it on that one. So this one will still exist. It will just be on a different frame. And I do have a 73 rebuilt 360 that I'm going to put in that truck. So then, you know, I'll have a backup 360 for this one, and so I'm kind of, it's nice that I'll have, you know, if anything happens with this truck, I'll have, you know, another option. I'll have other parts. I'll have fenders and transmission and engine and so forth without having to dig around, because as the years move on, it's going to be harder and harder to get parts for these. Beyond doing the body swap and painting, you know, it red again, and doing a complete restoration the way it should be, using make this as close to original as I can. It's really fun having the black one. It's sharp. It really catches people's eye. I get a lot of compliments. I think I get more compliments off of it this way than if it were to be an actual Lil Red Express. And not sure which one we're going to be doing next. So in the meantime, if you haven't, hit that subscribe button and click that notifications, and we'll see you at the next one.